How's it going, everybody? Adam here. Welcome back to another episode of the Pokemon Freedom Project. Today we're going to hopefully get into some more advanced things, or even just setting up Umbreon. Now, last episode we brought Umbreon in, we got him some animations going, and since then I brought his textures in, so I just wanted to quickly recap what I did for that. So I still did the normal, selected the Armature and Umbreon himself. But going into export, I went down here into path mode and set that to copy. I don't think I saved that for my... No, I didn't. Do that. And I can fix that later, but yeah. You want that to be on copy, otherwise the other way would have been to go into, the texture files, find the textures that you needed and drag them in here. Would have accomplished the same thing. I've also gone ahead and sort of set Umbreon a little bit. He's still got the player script on him. I've now just added a ability type and Pokemon script attached to him and just sort of done a little quick cap of his ability, whether or not that ends up being put in. And a little recap of our player input. So setting up, getting the reference to the Pokemon name again, setting that up, getting all the values from there, going to calculate jump force, that's hit of 12 if you're curious, which sets up the gravity and jump force, which I've made this a function so we can change gravity at will if need to, or if he needs to jump higher or something like that. Have a grounded script because I've decided that I don't like the rigid body gravities, so I've decided to make my own sort of. That is both pretty similar to the other project script I'm doing at the moment. It's pretty much exactly the same. What I got there works really well, so I figured I'd bring it in this one. Yes, just checking if you're grounded, getting the jump. Still having a small delay on the jump so the animation can play before you actually leave the ground. And yeah, just being moved with add force of impulse by the velocity which we calculate just in update. So that brings you guys up to speed. So if we get him in, you'd have a look. His values are a little screwy at the moment. But yes, we can run with him. We can jump at the moment too, which is cool. Just there's no animation for the jumping. And then walking is doing like a half jog sort of thing. But anyway, so what I'd like to get going is, well, I suppose first off we can fix his animator script up. We come back out here. That's fine. Believe threshold, yes. So his current speed is 12 and 30. So fix those accordingly, 12 and 30. There we go. Just a quick test to make sure that they're actually doing what we want them to do. His walk and run cycles are still dodgy at the moment. I mean, the run, it's not too bad. The walk one needs a little bit of work though. Now he might be, he's walking too fast. But anyway. So that's that. Have a little Umbreon. So, I'd like to get into maybe setting him up first. Although the only problem with that is I haven't really got anything else set up. It's a lot of setting up to do, unfortunately. So the moves for one thing, I'd like to maybe, I don't know whether they should be an object. We can try something. If we just create an empty, and we call it move shadow ball, and yes, that's going to be one of Umbreon's moves. Then we want to drag the move script on there, TypeScript. I think that's all we need for that one actually, because we don't need status. think Shadow Ball does any statuses. I mean, I can quickly go check, but pretty sure it doesn't, so apologies. But I need that open anyway for the, oh, I suppose we will need the stats for it? Or was that, I've got that in moves, maybe. Yeah, I've got that in moves. My bad. Yeah, it's fine. So we just drag this into the type. And its type, it is just straight a ghost type. Down here, select ghost. Second type, don't need one. Most, obviously, moves won't have a second typing. Secondary effects, you don't have any of that. Your name, again, is Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball. And all these other things are going to be very interesting. So you have a base power of 80. Leave the parent. Description. I can just grab that. Oh, it does have a secondary effect actually. Make that 1. But no, it can lower the stat, special defense stat. So just select that. I can show you that. What does my stats go? So I also realized technically sleep could go in there, but for now I'm leaving that. I want to try and handle sleep differently. Or it might go in there regardless. Do we want to put that attached onto there? I have no idea. But if we open this up and go into the move, could probably add it here as well. List, status, secondary effects. If we go into that one, yeah, that's not quite what I want. It'd have to be a stats class then, wouldn't it? Okay. Sorry, we'll give you a bit of the process here. So stats, drag that on here. This might work actually. Set script. Effects, no. You don't have... Secondary effects doesn't have what I want it to have. Because it's a status move. Or if we make a public... yeah, list. Of these stats. And call these... stat buffs. There we go. Now if we go back, we can drag that in there. So drop that one down to 0. Make stat buffs the size of 1. Actually, it would only need to be... Never mind, it won't even need to be a list. It'll just need to be... For the way I'm handling it, or for stats anyway, it'll actually just need to be the 1. I have to drag that back in though. Oops. And debuff and special defense by -1. For now, that's how we'll handle that. Just to keep that up for later. So a delay time and a wait time. For how often we would use it, I would say for the moment, give it a 20-second delay. Wait time of between uses. And a delay time. I don't remember what I wanted delay time for. I might have got confused and done 2 of the same thing. Unless it's launch time. Could have been that. Not entirely sure. Anyway. One thing we should actually do while I remember. If the thing will let me go back. There we go. Make a folder for our prefabs. Prefabs. And here create another folder for one for Pokemon, one for moves. Oh, didn't quite get my enter. In the Pokemon, drag Umbreon in here. And in the moves, we'll drag Shadow Ball for now. Cool. So that's base stuff for this done. I think that's about roughly what we need. But if we go, I have no idea where's things where I want to be. Where's things want to be? Good sentence, me. Back into scripts. Do the camera. Camera's fine, apart from its default starting position, but that can be fixed. So manual moves, movement. Just wanting to. Oops. No recording time. If we start setting up the types, actually, maybe that might work. Because we want to be able to determine how much effectiveness things have. Go into type. This is going to be fiddly though. We could have a. I think it wants. Nope, not. It's going to be one of those things that I do off screen and come back over. Because it's going to get very fiddly. I also added a type for none. Because second type would default to normal otherwise. We don't want that. So, very basic stuff. Not a lot done, unfortunately, today so far. I haven't really fleshed stuff out, unfortunately. I suppose technically our speaking system, text system, would be, apart from getting Pokemon to work themselves, that would be the next best thing to work on. Sorry, I'm sitting on my cord. But let's see. What do you have? You have all that, that's fine. Just set that to 0 so I can see more things. But your stats and stats. Oh, I haven't got those on you. We should drag those across. We can continue setting that up. Oh, didn't work. So stats. And you also want a status script. And drag both of these onto player, so stats and the status. Alright, let me get that window I had up previously. Just scroll to the top. I think that's where my value should be. Or technically they're at the bottom, I think. Yes. Okay. So Umbreon's base stats, so HB 95, 65, 110, 60, 130, and 65. Although I don't think speed's going to come into effect. We could use speed as a way of launching moves, actually. Buffs stay 0. Status, that's not how status should be. Not at all. Let's change this. Move this to. Oh goodness. Whoop. Nope. Go back. Drag that down here. Okay. Well, I don't even need that. If we have a public effect, make this public as well. What effect? Yeah, leave that. Also want to be adding a none on here as well. So you can have a default value for that. So when this updates, now have a little drop down box for this. So Flinch Bone, Frozen Polaris Confusion. And then data can be just accessed in the Pokemon script as needed. Anyway, unfortunately, this hasn't been as productive as I wanted it to be. Try and save it. Thank you. If we just scroll up here, hit apply, because we want this to change what's in the prefabs as well. Actually, another thing we can quickly do, if we just go in here and add an empty for Umbreon, we'll call this special launch. No. Or yeah, no, special position for now. And if we actually go down, oh, this would be interesting. Actually, no. Don't do it this way. No. Much better idea. If we go into here, if we create a public, hang on, no capital, that's why, public transform for special launch position. So anything special can go that way. Otherwise we would need public transform as well for the, we want one for the feet, hands and tail, or head as well, I suppose. Head position, let me just copy that. We would want left hand head, left head, that works too. Right hand, left leg, right leg, and tail. Probably should be adding position to these. Do. And these will be used for setting up where we want, if we have effects for attacks to go, that's where they will go. So if we go down to, oh geez, I think I've got to go follow the waist, hips, open all that up. We have waist, oh spine 2, neck, head, yeah, okay. So that's not quite where we want that to be, but if we go and create an empty, call this special position, drag that, oops, nope, that didn't help me. We drag that right to about in front of, down a little bit, about there. You can always tweak that later. So that'll be his mouth. So essentially where Shadow Ball will launch from. If we go down to the tail, that should be fine, just using the default tail things, or the tail end as well. I might use tail 3 actually. If we just click back on Umbreon, scroll down, so special position will be that spot. We'll use tail 3 for tail, so he won't have anything from his hands. I do believe he doesn't need that. We'll need the head though. Well, that's not particularly where I want that. If we duplicate this one, go head position, put that up about there. That's fine. Go back, scroll down and drag that up into the head. I mean, I could get his feet. It might be worth getting his feet, but as for the moment, I don't see the need for it, so I am going to leave it. Potentially could add a back in as well, or a stomach position. Who knows? I might even throw all this out the window later on. Who knows? Because I tend to change my mind a lot. But anyway, so that sets up those. Oops. That sets those up. Pretty much good for today. Again, sorry this not being too informative, but I want to at least go through everything I will be doing at least once. So again, so this will be setting up Umbreon. Moves will come back and do at a later date. And same would go for well, more animations, well, moves in general. But yeah, to have this little thing that if we just set that to 0, or 0, thank you. Set to 0, 0. Because technically this would want on it a particle system. More than likely. Oh dear. So we can do it that way. Or it could be a physical object, but it's more or less going to be wanting one of those. If I just drag this down. So just for example, for Shadow Ball, we want this to be a sphere. We want its radius to probably go right down. Actually, I've seen a pretty good tutorial that would be basically perfect for this. Which from the shell, have them have a random direction. But we want these to we don't want these to have a start speed. We drop that down to 0. So now he has a glowing ball. And that you could basically use that for anything. If you were to just do a hang on. Oh well, I was going to do like a hyper beam thing, but never mind. Just set that back to 0. And we'll just stop that. But yeah, so you can fiddle with that. I go back to simulation. Sorry, tweaking. I'm going to be here forever. Probably want to set star color to like a dark, probably a dark-ish purple. Something like that. I'm glad you're in the road. But that would be cool, and then you can just add various effects to it in textures. Not that one. But an image to it, and you can sort of start shaping things. But anyway, again, for one of the other things, I'll probably tweak on those before showing you guys or going through one with you. I just need to get some things nailed down before that. But again, finally getting to this point, that'll do it for today's episode. Apologies for it being a little unorganized. Hopefully next week will be better. And speaking of next week, next time I don't know what we'll be doing, unfortunately. What I would like to do is probably, I think I mentioned that last time, or in my other series, getting some environment stuff done, but that must wait until the better character controllers set up, because unfortunately that's still all over the place. Anyway, hope you guys somewhat enjoyed this episode. If you did, please feel free to stick around and see some more, and I'll see you guys next week. But until then, bye!